Welcome back to the channel, guys. In today's video, we're going to be sharing with you how we made these jugs, why I think they're some of the best jugs out there, and why I think they'll work for you. Along with, if you guys watched last week's video, if you haven't, I'll put a link up here for you guys to go check that video out. But we talked about why these jugs that were actually basically fishing disc, or the pool noodles. Some of the pool noodles here in the state of Texas are illegal. Be something that if you're not familiar with that law, I'll post a link up here so you can do that. But let's go ahead. We're going to do a deep dive into some of the best jugs you can make, and they're affordable, they're easy, and they work. So let's get to the video. Again, guys, thanks for tuning in to Heartland Makes and Outdoors. For starters, we're just going to start out at the one end of the jug line. If you guys have been pricing those lead weights, they've gotten so expensive. What we've done is we've made our own. We made them out of Coke cans and a bag of concrete. Almost everything that you're going to see in this build is going to be using scrap around the house or just cheap materials that you can buy almost anywhere. We started out with roughly a half a dozen Coke cans. I did make a few extras just in case I lose one or drop one or break it or whatever. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to take you over here to the bench vise. I've got 2 bolts in the bench vise. And what we've done is this wire is actually pretty heavy duty. It's the wire you'd see on the bottom of a chain link. If you guys have ever done any chain link fencing, you may actually have some scrap or some barbed wire. All that would be thick enough and heavy duty enough to work. Put the 2 bolts in the vise, and then it makes it real easy bending this heavy duty wire, because you can do it with a pair of pliers, but it's just a lot easier using the leverage of the wire itself against itself to make the bends using the 2 bolts, and you can see that while we're doing it. Next up, we're just going to pour a little bit of the concrete into a 5-gallon bucket. We're going to mix that up. And then we're going to start dipping the Coke cans down in there, fill the Coke cans up with water, and it doesn't matter if you put these wires in first or second, it doesn't really matter. I did it about halfway on both of them. And then you're going to set them over to the side. I did wipe them down with a napkin to kind of keep them clean. That way you don't have a bunch of concrete on the outside of your Coke cans. Just makes life a lot easier. Set them to the side, let them fully cure for a couple of days. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to start making these jugs. And guys, I'm telling you, if you watch till the end of the video, I'm going to show you why I think they're so awesome, along with why they're so easy. And everything that we've made on this can be replaced real easy. We're not tying any knots. We're going to be using swivel clasp to hold the line. So let's get to it. We're going to be using 40-pound. This is Trilene 40-pound line. You can get that, pick it up at Walmart or wherever. It's real cheap. We're going to be using a bag of beads. We're going to be using some of the Team Catfish swivels, and they had them at Walmart as well. Then we're going to be using some of the Eagle Claw, the barrel swivels with the clasp on them. That's going to be our quick connects, so that we don't have to leave these tied to the jugs or leave your noodle tied to the jugs. And then whatever kind of hooks you want. These are just size number 5 circle hooks that we're going to be putting on ours. In the state of Texas, you can have up to 5 hooks on your jug lines. We're only going to be doing 2 and maybe 3. Our home lake is Caddo Lake. Caddo Lakes average 3 to 5 foot depth. So I think once you start getting past a couple of hooks, you're just asking for problems anyways. After you get your sinkers made, we went ahead and we started the process of making some of these little pieces here. This is just some scrap PVC that I had laying around. I did drill a hole on this other end, and I've run this cord through there. It's tied to this other end, and then that way it makes it easier to attach it to the jugs. We're going to cut these PVC pieces about 7.5 inches long, and we're going to go ahead and make about 7 or 8 of them, because you could also use these for limb lines also. After we cut the PVC, we cut these pieces of foam pool noodles at 7 inches. 7 inches is just a good, lucky, solid number. I also think there's some good benefits biblically about the number, so that's why we chose 7. You can make them whatever length you want. I just thought it was kind of fun, and then that also gives you plenty of room to tie your line onto. After we get the 7.5 inch pieces of PVC pipe and our 7-inch pieces of pool noodle, I'm going to put a little bit of rubber cement on there, and then we're going to shove them on there, and then that way they're not actually going to slip off and the way we've got this connected, they couldn't go anywhere anyways, because the line runs through there. So it's no big deal if it does slip. We've got the rubber cement on hand, so I just put a little bit on the one end, shove this through there, and we're calling it good. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our trilene, that 40-pound trilene. And this is real easy, guys. You get one of your swivel clasp, and all we did on this to make it just as easy as it can be, we just do a figure eight knot, and then attach your clasp, your swivel clasp to that. Boom, and you're ready to go. Pull you off about 3 feet off of here, make your cut. And get you a couple of beads. It doesn't matter what size beads they are, you just want to make sure your beads are bigger than the holes in the swivels we're going to be using. So we got one bead on, we're going to put our swivel on next, then we're going to put our other bead on, and you should have something that looks about like this. Then grab your line again, because this line right here is going down to the swivel, which is going to connect to our sinkers. So take this line and thread it through those same pieces, and you should have 2 pieces sticking out 6 or 8 inches or so. It doesn't really matter. And we're just going to do this one knot. It's real simple. Make your loop, and it's hard for me. I chopped off my left thumb at one time in my life, and it's hard to do this left side of this knot. If you haven't chopped your thumb off, it should go a little bit quicker. I'm just wrapping that through there on this loop knot. We're just going through there about 3 or 4 times. Lick it, kind of pull it taut. Make sure you're pulling on the right pieces. And you don't want to go super tight yet, because we still got to tie the other side. All right, so now on this other side, same thing. You're going to loop. Make sure that top loop is going towards the beads. See how we did that? Just kind of fold it over, and it's going, oh, wait a minute, I got the wrong one. Here's your main line, because it's still connected to that. On this one, you're just going to make that loop to where it's going back towards the beads. We're going to run this through both of those lines, just like we did on the other side. About 4 good turns. Wet it, spit on it, whatever. Now, you can pull them both super tight. And then just cut your excess off. And now you've got a swivel, and it's roughly a foot or 2 away from your sinker. We'll do that same process again, pull you off about 2 or 3, 4 feet, whatever you want your line spaced out at. The one thing that's important to think about before you put your next one on, if you're going to have a foot of line for your hook, you want to have this about 2.5 foot apart. That way your hooks don't hook up on each other, and it gives the fish plenty of room to where they're not crowding each other, especially if you got 2 fish on, which can happen. Do that same process again. If you want to go through and add 3, 4, 5 hooks, if you're fishing real deep water, you may want to do that. Even if you don't put hooks on all the swivels, you could go ahead and hook it up now. That way it'd be real easy to change out your depths on your spacing if you've already got it done. The next thing we're going to do, I don't have this on video, but what I did in my shop is I went and connected it to one end of the shop, brought this line down to the other end, and that gives me about 30 foot of line, which, like I say, Caddo Lake's 3 to 5 feet, so that gives me plenty of excess line. And then if I go to Lake of the Pines or somewhere where the water's deeper, I can still use the jugs there also. After you get it to the desired length that you want, you're gonna just cut your line again and tie on another one of these swivels. Same deal, you can keep this real simple, just do a figure 8 knot. And then slip your swivel with the clasp on it. Slip your swivel with the clasp on it, you got it tied. What I did, just like I said, so this way if something was to fall off, I've run this line through the PVC and then just wrap it around your jug a couple of times, and then you can connect it onto that string that we've got running through the tube. You can connect it to that string that we've got running through the PVC and then connect it back onto itself. And now you can see everything's kind of tied up in the center of your pull noodle. The one good thing about this that I really like using the swivel snap, because you could obviously tie it in a knot straight to the jug, but if you needed to take this off for whatever reason, say it gets messy or junked up, and maybe you've been fishing in a lake where they got zebra mussels, something like that, and you need to wash all this stuff off before you go to another body of water, it just makes it real easy to where you can take this all apart, take it into the shop and wash everything, Clorox it off, sterilize it. That way you're not reinfecting another body of water. And that's why I've got the swivels on there. It just makes that process a lot easier. Same thing with the aluminum Coke cans. You can wash these off real easy in a bucket of water with some bleach to sterilize them again, so that you're not infecting another body of water. Here's where one of the other selling points to this really comes into handy, and this is what I like about the pull noodle. You can go ahead and start wrapping your line on. And what I did is I wrap it all the way up and I leave a couple inches on this end down here. That way you can put your hook in to this, and it's not going to be hooking you in the leg, the calf, the hand, or wherever else. As you're either taking line off or putting line on, you can do that. And then when you get all the way to the end and you take your Coke can off, you can use the same swivel that we've been using. Put your swivel and stab it right in there as well, and it keeps it all nice and tidy. If you'll notice, I've got a little rubber band on the close-up video that you're going to be seeing. That rubber band is just inner tube from a mountain bike tube. Had some flats in it. I always save them. They work out great. But that way you can add it on there as well. You could also use that rubber band to kind of hold your line after you've got your line out, just for a double security type deal, so that you're not gonna get a bunch of excess line. We're gonna pretend like we're setting this jug out. I'm gonna show you how real easy this is. So we'll put this on a sinker and pretend we're in the boat. We're gonna drop that off down the side of the boat. All you got to do, guys, is just make a couple of twists in your line and it'll bite back, and it'll bite on itself and keep it from pulling excess line out. Again, you can use the inner tube for double security, so in case you got a bunch of slack, it'll hold it all together, and then that way you're at the right depth and you don't have to worry about the 30 foot of line that's on here stringing out and your jugs be 30 foot away from where your sinker is. And that just makes it real quick, real easy, just doing the single loop like that. And then again, when you get done at the end of the day and you're reeling this up, you can hook them hooks into the foam, get your sinker up here, and you can set it off to the side. If you're pulling your jugs at the end of the night, you may be resetting them and you're not going to take them off or whatever, but this way you can keep them separate if you need to. Now, I promised you at the beginning of the video I was going to show you something, another reason, aside from these being legal here in the state of Texas, another reason that I really love these jugs is if any of you are coming from the kayak scene and you've made one of these little kayak kits toolbox, tackle box for the back of your kayak. It's got a rod holder, gives you some extra rod storage in your little boat. But you can get 5 of these jugs inside here, and I'll kind of tip that up. We've got the one out, it's over there, the one I've been using for the display of this build. Guys, that makes everything nice. It makes it compact. This is something you could use in a kayak. It's something you could use in your catfishing boat, and it makes it real easy to carry around 5 of them, nice and quick. Again, using the kayak box that I made many years ago. I've got some rod storage on here. We've also got an extra light. You always want to check your batteries in your light. Yeah, well, it's a light. It probably needs to be fixed. Again, guys, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. I hope it's something that you've found helpful. I hope it's something that you would enjoy making. If you guys do make some of these, take some pictures of them, post them on Instagram and link them back to us. Share them with your friends on Instagram. If you guys have not joined our family here, part of our goal on this channel is to try to make fishing affordable again. We like to make stuff. We like to spend a great deal of time outdoors. Anything that we can do, from photography, camping, fishing, hunting, to get outside, that's what this channel is all about. And then, of course, we love to eat too, so we've got a fair amount of cooking videos on here too. We'll be cooking a lot more wild game and fish as time allows. Again, if that's something that interests you, I'd love to talk you into joining our family. You can join our family right here on YouTube by clicking the subscribe button below. Again, if you like this video, give us a big thumbs up. We appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. If you did not like this video, be sure you give us the thumbs down. Hit that button twice so we get full credit for it. Again, guys, if nothing else, we appreciate each and every one of you. I hope that you have a blessed week. Let us know what you think about these. I think these are some of the best jugs out there that you can use, especially with them being compact and you can fit them in a little kayak box or your own little milk crate. Again, let us know your thoughts down below. And until next week's video comes out, be sure to check out one of our playlists for videos that we've made especially for you. And as always, let us get outside and make something happen. May you all have a blessed week.